Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minion with me this evening is Hammer.
Hello.
I might get joined by a couple others later on, or they might have zonked out or just be busy at work. But as it is once again a Friday, I'm of course the keeper for this evening, Sanguine. How are you doing tonight, Hammer?
I am doing well. For a
That's
change.
good to hear.
Next door
Always
neighbor
better
brought
than
over.
go
The
ahead.
my next door neighbor brought over some barbecue chicken for me, so
Ooh,
I'm
very nice.
immediately in a good mood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, doing well is always better than the alternative, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Considering you're a foodie, I thought you would appreciate that very short story.
Yep.
He
Yeah.
made two different kinds of chicken. He made like and he just gave me legs and thighs,
Mm-hmm.
but he made like an orange chicken
Mm-hmm.
and he made like a barbecue chicken.
Ooh,
So he gave
very
me
nice.
one leg of each.
Mm-hmm.
So very delicious, and some corn on the cob with a very light dusting of butter. So
Very nice.
yes, indeed, for the commoner that I am, that is quite the meal. I know
Meanwhile,
it doesn't compare to most of the things you eat, but for me, it's
uh,
pretty damn fancy.
last night I whipped together a
Oh, here we go.
uh, simple bowl of pasta with a homemade romesco, and then I also ground the meat that I used for it as well, because during Christmas last
Mhm.
year I was able to get a meat grinder,
Oh, nice.
and I finally got enough place to set it up in my kitchen, or enough room to set it up in my kitchen. So I set it up and been dinking around with it. I've thus far been absolutely loving it. Grinding my own meat tastes a hell of a lot better than pre-ground, especially
Yeah.
since I get to decide the fat content.
Oh, nice.
So all of last week I was dicking around with ground pork belly,
Oh boy.
and oh good god, the flavor that you get out of ground pork belly. And then
Wow.
this week, I have 3 nights that I'm going to be doing ground beef with a few cheap cuts of beef. Nice, flavorful beef, but
Mhm.
normally not the sorts of cuts that you would just cook up like a steak. Hey, Cryptic, how goes? But yeah, I have 3 nights of that. So last night was the romesco. Tonight I'm doing some tempura shrimp in
Oh,
a
nice.
sticky, sweet, spicy glaze. And then that is going to be amazing. But yeah, it's going to be those shrimp on a rice bowl with a quick slaw. It should be absolutely delicious.
Awesome. I haven't had coleslaw in a long time.
One of the things about it is it's dead easy to make, and you can really doctor up the flavors in an obscene number of ways.
Okay, so answer me this.
Mm-hmm.
Creamy coleslaw or sweet coleslaw?
I tend to go vinegar base normally with a bit of uh, mayo to make it a little bit creamy, but it's more just that really sharp acidity that I'm looking for.
Hmm.
Because I do it a lot with fried foods, and that acidity cuts the richness of the fried food.
Mm-hmm.
But it's delicious regardless.
There's a place near me that makes coleslaw that people stand in front of. It's a like a bistro, and people line up at the door just for their coleslaw,
Mm-hmm.
and it's extraordinarily sweet.
Ah.
And for some reason, I guess maybe it's the location here in Northeast Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
but it kills here, man. I'm telling you, people just can't get enough. It literally winds around the building.
Oh, is it
It's
the
it's
sweet
crazy good.
red German coleslaw, or is it?
It just looks like regular coleslaw, just white and
Huh.
green. Um, no red, just white and green, but and short and long slices, so it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
mixed. And the the sauce, whatever, is not creamy at all. It's very, very thin, but it's weird. It's a thin sauce, or I don't even call it sauce. It's a thin mixture, but it seems to still cling to the coleslaw very well, even though it's runny. But it's almost like a candy bar. It's so sweet.
Oh, yeah. I know there's a type of coleslaw that you can get that's a German red coleslaw, and that one can be rather sweet. And then there's one that, due to the fact that red coleslaw or red cabbage releases a indicator solution. Do you know what an indicator solution is, by the way?
No, but I know what red cabbage is, because this coleslaw doesn't have any of it.
Yes, but an indicator solution is it changes color depending on the acidity or the pH of the environment. So there's a specific type of red cabbage coleslaw that is sometimes called blue or purple slaw, because they have the pH of the liquid that it's in just right to get the red cabbage juice to turn kind of this bluish purple. It's a very strange thing. But yeah, I haven't heard of a sweet white coleslaw very often.
Yeah, it's just it's very unique, because there's a lot of places up here that have coleslaw on their menu, because it's not just a specific food group. It's not just Italian or Slavic, or it doesn't always fit in. There's a lot of different ethnicities have coleslaw in their menu somewhere, some kind of coleslaw. But all the other places around here who have it, usually Italian, it seems like pizza places have coleslaw like crazy. All have coleslaws, but none of them are close to this.
Yeah, there's, like I said, it's one of those things that's really easy to doctor up in a ridiculous number of ways, because you can make it very vinegary, you can make it mustardy, you can make it very creamy, you can make it sweet, you can make it extremely spicy. So one of my favorites is I do an Asiatic slaw, but I use an extremely spicy sriracha that I have. And oh, good God, that's amazing. It will absolutely take someone's head off if they aren't good with spice, because the sriracha that I use is a triple smoked sriracha that uses Trinidad scorpion, ghost pepper.
Jeez.
Right, no, sorry, it's not ghost pepper. It's Carolina Reaper.
Oh, worse.
And then the pepper that's the flavoring pepper, the mild pepper of the three, is the... Let me quickly double check. It might be ghost pepper. It's either ghost pepper or Scotch bonnet. This one's ghost pepper. Okay. So I have another one that uses Scotch bonnet instead of ghost pepper. The only one of the three hottest peppers that it's missing is the Pepper X.
Well, my life with pepper is I can barely handle table pepper.
Oh, that's...
I am so sensitive to peppers that I can't go near any of that.
That's the weird thing for me, because black pepper kills me. So if it's like an overly peppered steak, I'm dead. My mouth is on fire. I fucking hate it. Yeah.
I'm so sensitive to pepper and tanginess that I can barely handle ketchup.
Damn.
I know. It's crazy. If I have something like French fries with some ketchup on them, by the time I'm done eating, my whole head is wet.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I literally have to use a paper towel. My hair is cut very, very, very short. It's shorter than a crew cut. And I can literally pat my head and you'll see a handprint on the paper towel from how wet my head.
Damn.
I know. It's really bad.
For me, it's just black pepper, because I can do that sriracha. and I'm
Mm-hmm.
perfectly fine. I've had up to a 9 million Scoville hot sauce.
Jesus, dude.
That one I had to sign 2 medical waivers in order to try, and I was fine. I had it. It was very spicy, but no problem. Continued on with my day like nothing happened.
Cryptic is your boy. He loves peppers.
Yeah. Cryptic and I have talked about spicy food. By the way, Cryptic, if you want the link, let me know. But when it comes to black pepper kills me.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I think I might have like an allergic reaction to specifically the black peppercorns. Because I can do things that taste like pepper to most people and things that are spicier than pepper to most people. Like,
but it's not pepper.
I just can't do peppercorns. I can do long pepper, which is a very strange pepper-like thing. It was the pepper before pepper was the main pepper. And it's long. It kind of looks like peppercorns, but just about an inch long. And it has a slightly cinnamony taste to it. Absolutely delicious. I can use that, and I use it quite often. If I'm going to be peppering something, I'll use that. Or the other one is Grains of Paradise.
I haven't heard of that.
Grains of Paradise is another thing that is a very peppery taste to it. Most people say that it's spicier than pepper, and it's used in brewing a lot. So
I can put table pepper on like scrambled eggs. Salt and pepper on scrambled eggs. I'm perfectly fine with that. No problem.
See, I have to do salt, and then I'll use one of my either Grains of Paradise or long pepper. But then I can hit the eggs with hot sauce and be perfectly fine. If I use normal pepper, my mouth is on fire.
I know people use hot sauce. I mean, I can do ketchup on scrambled eggs. The only eggs I like are scrambled eggs. So I could do ketchup on scrambled eggs only because my dad used to do it. And I was like, ooh, what's that? And I tried it. And I was like, oh, this isn't bad. It's not my prefer. I prefer salt and pepper, but I can do ketchup on there because you don't really have to put much ketchup on eggs to get the taste.
Yep.
They're two very strong tastes. Well, ketchup's stronger, but they're two very distinct tastes. I'll put it that way. So, you know, you could just use a little bit and that's fine. That's enough. So it doesn't kill me. But the only thing I can really put pepper on, like I said, I have a hard time dealing with table pepper is just scrambled eggs is really the only thing I can do. So.
Yeah, for the longest time, I thought that I couldn't stand spicy food because it would burn like hell. And then at one point, after I started to learn how to cook, I went, okay, I'm going to make fajitas. And I wanted a good flavor to my fajitas, so I got a few jalapenos and I got some habaneros. And I mixed up a marinade, cilantro, lemon juice, garlic, and the jalapenos and habaneros. Marinated my steak in that, ate it. It was delicious. It was spicy without being hot, and it didn't burn my mouth. And then I mentioned that to someone else, made it for them at one point, and they're going, these are delicious, but oh God, these are spicy. And I'm going, no, these aren't spicy. My mouth isn't burning at all. And then I realized slowly through that, oh, it's black pepper that kills me. Everything else is fine.
Have you tried any of the sauces on First We Feast?
I don't believe I have. Oh, actually, let me quickly double check because that's
Sean Evans' show.
Let me see
Hot Ones, I think is the name of the actual show.
Oh, yes, I've done the Last Dab.
Okay.
I've done I'm trying to remember, it's 3 of them. It was the Last Dab, which is always the last one. I want to say it was one of the like third to last, and then one of the ones that's kind of middle of the pack, but I can't remember which ones.
Every season they change the sauces. So it depends on what season you're looking at. But there's only one that stays, and it's been on since the beginning, and it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the bomb. That's the only one that's been on every show.
Ah.
And that's the one that kills people. They
That's
literally
the one-
fall over dead.
That's the one that's the last dab normally, right?
No. It's the, I think it's either the 7th or 8th one. I think it's the 8th one because, yeah, 2 from the last. The last dab is number 10.
Okay.
And then and there's one before the last dab, and then the one before that is the bomb. And the bomb, you watch anybody who's ever been on the show,
Mhm.
and when they get to the bomb, that's when all hell breaks loose. They'll be like, "Oh, this isn't so bad. Oh, I'm feeling the heat here." And then they hit the bomb. They're like, "Oh my god!" And, you know, and then they're dumping milk down their throat and walking around in circles, and they just fucking lose it. It's the best part of the show every time. The best part is when it's a pretty girl. Just watching her be completely unpretty because this just takes over. The bomb
Just
is like this
ugly crying.
Oh my god, milk pouring out of their nose. I swear to Christ, it's true.
Yep.
I forget who it was. What's that? Aubrey Plaza
Yep.
snorted milk.
No.
I mean, it's just great. You see a really pretty girl just do some really disgusting things. It's just, I enjoy it so much. They had Conan O'Brien on
Mm-hmm.
as one of their, you know, Conan is like fucking crazy.
Yep.
And he's like, he's going through these things. He goes and he eats the one that's in the bomb, and you can see his eyes light up, and he's like, he's like, this is okay, and you know it's obviously not kidding. You know what he does? He picks up the bomb sauce,
Mm-hmm.
opens the top, and takes a swig of it.
Nice.
I'm just like, oh my god! And Sean Evans is saying, "Don't do that! Don't do that!" He does it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Conan, anything for a joke, you know, kind
Yep.
of deal. So it was quite. He was the last person from last season.
And I looked it up, and the bomb was one of the ones that I had. It was, I recognized the bottle. So it was the last dab, the bomb, and then apparently it was Peppers Up, because I recognized that bottle as well.
The label, yeah.
Yep.
So you've had the bomb. You know what that's like.
I've had the top 3 spiciest, apparently.
Yeah. The bomb is just an assault on you. That's all it is. It's not tasty. It doesn't taste good. It's just designed to cause pain.
Yep.
And that's what it does. It just ruins your taste buds.
So the way that it works is there's different ways that you can make hot sauces.
Mm-hmm.
You have whole pepper sauces. Then you have the capsaicin specific sauces, which rather than dealing with the whole pepper, they don't take the outside of the pepper. They take the seeds and they take the membrane, because that's where the bulk of the capsaicin is stored. And they'll use those to make a hot sauce. Yeah. And then the one that I was mentioning earlier, the 9 million Scoville unit, it is an extraction hot sauce, which means that they don't just not use the whole pepper and use the seeds and the membrane in order to get the most out of the capsaicin. They distill the capsaicin, so it is, in order to get that 9 million Scoville sauce, it is something like 80-something% pure capsaicin.
As I understand it, the bomb is uses impregnated oil.
Yep.
So you can't swallow water to make yourself feel better.
Yep.
Because the oil just says "fuck you" and it keeps burning.
That's the thing with all pepper spice. When it comes to pepper spice, you need to go for something fatty, or you need to go for something that is absorbent. So bread works wonders when you're dealing with something that's too spicy. Just eat a bunch of bread, because the bread is spongy. It's able to suck the oil off the tongue and carry it down into the stomach. When you deal with something that's fatty, like milk, it allows the hydrophobic molecules to adhere to each other and lift them off the tongue, because the thing that makes pepper spicy is oligocapsaicin.
Hmm.
And oligocapsaicin, that preface, oligo, means oil.
Right.
And because it's an oil, if you try to drink water, you might wash some of it off your tongue, but then it just sticks to your throat.
Yeah.
And a good chunk of it won't lift off the tongue. It'll stay bonded to the receptors.
Right.
So you have to get something that has a non-polar charge. Well, not charge, because non-polar means no charge. So you need something non-polar to lift the substance off the tongue. Yeah. Well, not necessarily neutral, because you have neutral polar, neutral non-polar. You then have the charged polar, or charged polar. So that's acids and bases, a charged polar. You have water, which is a neutral but polar, and then you have olive oil, which is neutral and non-polar. But
yeah, I could never do it. Can you imagine what these people are going through the next day?
Oh yeah,
your ass is on fire, man. Holy crap! Literally, holy crap.
Yeah, like I said, I love spicy food, and I can handle really spicy food. But for me, for the most part, when I'm having something spicy, I want it to have a really nice flavor rather than just spice. And that's where, well, I had fun trying the 9 million Scoville hot sauce. I'm not going to ever go out of my way to get the 9 million Scoville hot sauce to make wings or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only flavor in that sauce was spice. There was nothing else there. Whereas when you're dealing with habaneros, jalapenos, scotch bonnets, things like that, you still get a nice flavor out of them. And that's also why whole pepper hot sauces have a better flavor than when you're dealing with the seed and membrane hot sauces, and a hell of a lot better than when you're dealing with the extraction hot sauces.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it's dealing with the whole fruiting body of the pepper, you get a bit of that pepper sweetness to it, because peppers are a little bit sweet. They have a fruitiness to them, despite being spicy. So you get that nice bit of fruitiness to them, as well as the spice, and then you combine it with other things, like some garlic and other flavors that you want, garlic, herbs, tequila, shit like that. Tastes amazing.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm on board with Scoville ratings.
Mm-hmm.
because the bomb kills people, literally, and there are other sauces that are higher on the list of sauces for that show that have higher Scoville ratings, but the bomb is what kills everybody. And the funny thing is, the bomb is called the bomb Beyond Insanity. That's the name of that sauce. Did you know the bomb is the name of a brand? And that Beyond Insanity is actually the name of that sauce, because they have another sauce by Da Bomb called Ground Zero, and it's supposed to be 3 times hotter than Beyond Insanity. I know. Can you imagine?
And the reason why that one kills people more than hotter sauces is when you're dealing with hot sauce, if it has a more complex flavor, you can handle more spice. Than you can if it's just the spice. So when you're dealing with a pepper extract hot sauce, even if it's a lower Scoville rating for that hot sauce, it will be more aggressive. So it will feel worse than a higher Scoville rating, but more complex sauce.
That's exactly what Google says. Google says, by the exact phrase Google says is, most of the heat comes from pepper extract rather than the actual peppers in the sauce. The result is a pretty shocking experience, especially to the uninitiated. If you want even hotter, the bomb makes another sauce called Ground Zero, which is 3 times as hot as Beyond Insanity.
Yep.
Oh my God.
And I love Szechuan peppercorns. Cryptic. Are you familiar with Szechuan peppercorns at all, Hammer?
No, I mean, all this stuff is well beyond me because I don't like spicy stuff at all, so I don't really know much.
So Szechuan peppercorns, they have spice, but the main feature of Szechuan peppercorns is they have an almost Novocaine-like effect, but it isn't as strong. It just gives you this kind of tingly numbness to your lips and tip of your tongue.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm listening to you, but I'm reading. I said that the bomb had Ground Zero and Beyond Insanity. Mm-hmm. That's not their only ones.
Nice.
I just found a bunch more. They have one called The Final Answer, and they have one called Plutonium Number 9. And their hottest one is called Pure Evil. 13 million Scoville.
Oh, that's the only one that probably beats the 9 mil that I have.
Oh my God. Can you imagine the bomb plus? Because the original The Bomb Beyond Insanity is only like 135,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pure mouth rape. Can you imagine something hotter than that? Plus it's 13 million Scoville as well.
Oh, and
oh my God.
One that I had that was the 9 million Scoville was Plutonium Number 9.
Yeah. See, that's got to like create burns in the mouth. You know, some people probably get second-degree burns, have all kinds of little pustules in their mouth after this. You can only get so much before the skin just can't handle it.
Oh, yeah, it can, which is why when you're dealing with peppers beyond... once you hit about ghost pepper in Scoville rating, there's a chance of chemical burns. So if you're working in a kitchen and you're using ghost peppers and up, so ghost peppers, Carolina Reapers, the Trinidad Scorpion, or Pepper X, you wear gloves.
Right.
Because if you don't, there's a chance that you're going to have chemical burns from capsaicin getting on your hand.
If you watch the show, Sean Evans watches the guests when they eat, and if he sees them move their hands to their faces, he'll tell you, don't put your hands near your face. Don't put your hands near your eyes. Because, I mean, that's very tender, parts of your body. You get something crazy high in your eyes, man. That could blind you, right?
Yeah. It can. Also, there have been the nightmare instances of someone improperly handling rather spicy peppers, and then nature calls.
Yeah, I can see why that would be a problem.
Yeah, there's all kinds of horror stories when it comes.
Oh my God!
All kinds of horror stories when it comes to that.
Yeah.
When in food preparation, where you can actually burn yourself. And also just the pain. What are you going to do? Grab a cup of milk and dip yourself in it?
Yeah. I'm just going to stay away from all this. I'll just handle, table pepper and be happy.
And Cryptic is apparently growing some Carolina Reapers in his garden this year. Nice. But if you want something that is similar but a more potent numb without the spice of Szechuan peppercorns, you have Szechuan. They're Buzz Bombs or Buzz Buttons. They go by both different names. Also Buzz Buds, if I remember correctly. And they just numb the mouth. They're used in certain cocktails. They're these little flowers that haven't quite bloomed that they look innocuous because, again, they're just these little fuzzy, not fully bloomed yellow flowers that will entirely numb your mouth.
Wow.
Though some people have described it as numbing your mouth, but it's the sort of numb that you get after you've electrocuted yourself.
Yikes.
Like I said, they're used in certain cocktails, but you can use them in a bunch of other things. You can use them as seasoning for different meals. You can use them as garnishes. You can throw them in salads. And
Sounds
they
evil
just
to
have
me.
a very specific effect. Hey, Adam, how goes?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing fairly
Hey, Adam.
well. Just talking about spicy food and interesting foods. We had just been talking about high Scoville unit hot sauces to include a 9 million and 13 million Scoville hot sauce.
Oh.
And then
Crazy.
mentioned the Szechuan Buzz buttons, or sometimes known as Buzz Buds, Buzz Bombs, and Buzz Buds, if I remember all the names.
How are you with spicy sauces, Adam?
First off, I like. First off, let me apologize for the tardiness, sir. I'm trying to get stuff switched over to a different laptop, and kind of
Technical problems abound.
yeah, I lost track of what's going on. But yeah, before I went fully onto the other one, I figured keep this laptop running, and so I can at least do this, so I didn't have to recalibrate everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in terms of spiciness, I like. I've often run across the opinion that there's two kinds of spicy. It's like a flavor spicy and a heatness spicy. For me, personally, I enjoy it when you get the spice to the point where you start tearing up.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. But it still has a nice flavor to it, not just the spice.
Even if the flavor is just fleeting, and all of a sudden it's just, I like that only because that's a personal thing. Yeah, extra wasabi for me, please. That's where I go, but it I can understand where you'd want to control on that, because it is good. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of part of the bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and that does bring up the other thing that I was going to mention. Hammer or Adam,
Mm.
do you know why you can drink milk in order to get rid of spice from a pepper, but if you have too much wasabi or too much horseradish, you're just fucked and you have to suffer?
I don't know. How many shots of oil would Donkey have to take?
It is an innumerable number when it comes to wasabi or horseradish.
For real?
Yeah, because when it comes to pepper spice is from, again, oligocapsaicin, which is the oil of capsaicin. So if you have something that is fatty, rich, oily, it sucks up, or it is able to be the solvent for the capsaicin, lifts it off the tongue, and it cools down your mouth. But with horseradish, it isn't a fat.
Oh.
nor is it water soluble. It has nothing to do with the liquid. What happens is that when you consume horseradish or wasabi, there's a chemical reaction going on from when it was grated or when it was chewed that is off-gassing a chemical that ends up stinging your mucosal membranes. And that stinging sensation comes across as spice, as heat. So all you have to do, and all you can do, is you wait until it's off-gassed all of that. You're just going to be in pain until then.
So it gets in the sinuses.
Yep. It like I said, it's a gas that rises up from the wasabi or the horseradish, and that gas stings mucosal membranes, so it stings your throat, it stings up into your sinuses, the entire tract, effectively, because that entire section is lined with mucosal membranes.
That's evil that it turns into gas, because you can't even use bread.
Yep. There's absolutely nothing that you can do in order to terminate wasabi or horseradish spice before it naturally terminates. The closest that you can come to is you can increase the burn and make it last for a shorter period of time. Or you can slightly decrease it, but make it last for much longer. And the way that you do that is if you want to have the burn last for a shorter period of time, but be far more intense, drink something hot.
I mean, at that point, you're trying to make a damn chemical bomb.
Oh, you're making you're speeding up a chemical reaction by adding or reducing the heat of the reactants.
Yeah.
Because you drink something hot if you want it to be shorter lived but more intense, and you drink something as cold as you can handle if you want it to be longer but less intense. And that's the only way that you can manipulate the burn of horseradish and wasabi. It's one of my favorite factoids about food. Because there's something that it seems like if it helps with one thing, being too spicy, it should help with all things. When something's too spicy, you drink milk and it helps you. But yeah, with wasabi and horseradish, nah. You drink milk, now you just have milk and spice. It does nothing to cool it. It does nothing to help.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with ketchup.
Have you tried mushroom ketchup, though?
I'm allergic to mushrooms.
Oh.
Yeah, they cause like an anaphylaxis response. My throat closes up.
That really sucks.
Yeah.
I found out by having someone at the cafeteria order pizza with mushrooms on it. That's how I found out.
So even that small of like like a little slices of mushrooms would cause a reaction?
Well, that particular pizza had extra mushrooms on it. They weren't that big, but there were a lot on there. So I just avoided it at all costs because I don't like having EpiPen or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So if I were to actually have some, get me to the hospital would be the only resolution. So I just don't mess with it.
Definitely understand why you wouldn't.
Yeah, especially if you have to include the pen. Fuck that, dude.
And they're expensive now. They used to be pretty cheap, but I forget that guy who made it really expensive for EpiPens.
It was Skrelly.
Yeah, Skrelly.
The The thing that always annoys me about that story is people leave out the good part of the story, because EpiPen is not the only auto-injector.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the other auto-injector companies did?
No.
So there's one of them. I want to say it's like Adaver, or it's Audi something. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But they're another epinephrine auto-injector.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, they're the idiot-proof epinephrine auto-injector. Because have you ever used an AED?
No.
So if you ever turn on an AED, it'll start speaking to you and telling you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
What?
It's defibrillator. The defibrillators that you'll see in like malls and shit like that, when you turn on the button or when you hit the power button, it'll start saying, attach pads in this fashion. And it will explain the entire way that you attach the pads. And then it'll tell you after you attach the pads, please hit, I think it's rhythm is the button that they say, please hit the rhythm button. And then it'll analyze whether the person is shockable or not. And as it's doing that, it will tell you, please don't touch the person and tell everyone else to not touch them. So it'll tell you to back up, tell everyone else, okay, everyone hands off. Then it'll tell you analyzing, shock advised, or shock not advised. If it says shock advised, it will then tell you when to administer the shock. And again, it will tell you to warn everyone, hands off, back up. But there's a Epi administration device that is, again, like Audi, AudQ, something like that, where it's, when you open it up, it starts speaking to you and telling you how to use it.
Interesting.
It is an awesome little device. And when EpiPen jacked up its prices, that company lowered their prices.
Oh, nice.
Not only did they lower their prices, but they set up a system where if you make below a certain amount of money, or your family makes below a certain amount of money, you can get up to a certain number of them every month.
Wow.
So everyone got rightfully pissed off at Skrelly. Skrelly was a shitbag. But they completely ignored something that they should have immediately been telling everyone, which is there's other sources of epinephrine. In fact, there's other epinephrine auto-injectors, because if you want the cheapest option, you go for a non-auto injector.
Yeah, the other brand that you were talking about is called AviQ.
Yep, that's it. So if you want the cheapest option, you go for non-auto injectors, and then there's several different options in non-auto injectors. One of them is you just get the vial and a set of needles. That's the most difficult to use. There's also preloaded needles that you can use. Then there's auto injectors. There's a bunch of different options. A lot of the other options, when he jacked up prices, they lowered prices. And it should have been, Martin Shkreli did this shit. Stop buying this, go to these companies. They're still selling them, and they're selling them for cheaper now. Which is just, it infuriates me every time that gets brought up, because so many people were, again, rightfully pissed off. But I kept on hearing people say that, what are they supposed to do? It's not like there's other options. Yes, there are. There are cheaper options. There are better options. Use them. Don't just keep on buying the same shit. Go for someone that provides a better service for less. Do it.
Yeah, I thought that was Mark Cuban's baby, but he didn't do the EpiPen. He did something else.
He's the one that decided to make a online pharmacy that sells at like a 30% of normal price.
Yeah, and it's direct to you. There's no middleman. I was just on the site. Yeah, I thought he did EpiPens, but he's doing like Lipitor and shit like that. So different medications.
I want to say it's like Farm Plus is the site or
something like that. I was just there, but if you look up Mark Cuban millionaire medications, you'll get to the site.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things that it should have been in every news story about EpiPen jacking up the price.
Yeah.
The very next sentence should have been, here's a list of all their competitors, and here's what the competitors have done. But instead, there were just people constantly saying, well, they don't have any other options, so people kept on buying EpiPen.
Yeah.
Despite EpiPen being a hell of a lot more expensive. And it's no more effective than the Aviq. Again, I think it's kind of badass that the Aviq has opened it up and it immediately starts telling you exactly how to administer it.
Pretty cool. Don't you love technology?
Yeah, especially since EpiPens, they're easy enough that most people can figure them out, but you still have to know where to stab the person with the EpiPen. And given that we had a movie, Pulp Fiction, that was about stabbing someone in the heart with one.
No, it's in the leg, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the leg. And that's my point. They don't have, when it comes to EpiPens, they just assume that everyone will know stab it in their leg. There's a picture on the EpiPen that demonstrates stabbing in the leg. But again, we had Pulp Fiction, where someone gets stabbed in the heart with an adrenaline needle. Mm-hmm. By the way, epinephrine is effectively an adrenaline agonist. So
there's a lot of TV shows that are not correct when it comes to even medical shows not correct in their medical things. Like, do you know that you never shock somebody who doesn't have a heartbeat?
Yep. You shock
I didn't know. You shock the rhythm, right? So if they don't have a heartbeat, you don't shock them. It's compressions.
Yep.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
And most of them get it wrong. There's only like two medical shows that get it right. Mm-hmm. The Good Doctor was one of them, and Nurse Jackie was the other. But like House gets it wrong, and ER got it wrong. All these big shows that people watch, millions of people watching these shows, they're all getting it wrong.
Yep. Yeah, you shock arrhythmia, which means it's not beating in rhythm.
Right. Yeah. You know who I found that out from?
Oh.
YouTuber. Dr. The hell is his name? I just drew a blank. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Now I lost it.
He talks about it to be Chubby Emu.
No. Let me look it up. Let me go into Dr. Mike. Is that his name?
Oh.
Dr. Mike?
I mean, shit, the idea that you can be off when if you don't shock them at the right time, that's scary.
Yeah, Dr. Mike is the YouTuber.
Is that the black doctor that goes through different media and how?
No, he's a white doctor, Jewish guy. But he has this little move he does before he cuts from one part of his show to the other. He goes, "Pee whoop."
Nice.
I know, it's really stupid. It's very cringy. But he does regular reactions to medical TV shows. And he also did a thing saying these are the top 10 most accurate. And House was like pretty close to the end, but it wasn't at the end. It was the Good Doctor was at the end. So
yeah. But there's another doctor YouTuber that I can't remember the name of. It's a fairly decently sized black guy. I want to say he's a surgeon. And what he does is he goes through different media, kind of like what you're saying Dr. Mike does.
Mm-hmm.
Only he'll also do like sci-fi and shit like that. And be explaining the medical aspects behind certain things and what sorts of trauma people are experiencing during different events in the stories.
If you click on the link I put in chat, it'll bring up his homepage, and there's a picture of him right there, so you know exactly what he looks like.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking guy. I mean, I gotta imagine he's got the. I don't know what his personal selections are, but he's got to have a lot of women looking at him. A doctor, good-looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a target.
Yeah, the other doctor that I was thinking you might be referring to is Chubby Emu.
That's a real name?
That's his channel name. What he does is he does medical case studies.
Obviously an Australian guy, right?
No.
No?
I think he's an American.
All right.
He just has the name Chubby Emu as his channel name. But he does medical case studies. So it's like, this is how this case progressed. And he'll start with the very beginning, explain what happened. So
he's a diagnostician.
Yep. He did one episode on one of the people that ended up consuming the alcohol content of a snow globe.
Okay.
And he was explaining every step of what was happening to him and his body. So it was like, at this time, after drinking the contents, he lost consciousness. At this time, his liver was being shredded by crystals forming within it. At this time, this happened. And
yeah, this is all weird stuff. A guy who only ate noodles for 6 months.
Yep.
What?
I know. That's crazy stuff. This guy's kind of like House, isn't he?
Yeah, it's very strange diagnostician things.
Yeah, that's House.
It's one of those people that when you're listening to him, you very quickly learn the difference between fairly subtle things.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between they made a full recovery. They made a recovery. Very different things.
Yeah, yeah. He looks Asian.
Yeah. But I think he's working in America, and
that's funny that he's Asian working in America and has a logo that talks about Australia.
Yep.
It's a very world traveler kind of thing.
Yeah. But a lot of really interesting videos, and he goes through each aspect. Also, he tries to make sure that his viewers understand what medical terms mean as he goes.
He explains stuff. Yeah, Dr. Mike does that too.
One of the normal ones that he is always explaining is emia, the word or the end of a word.
Suffix.
Emia. Yep, the suffix, which is the presence in blood.
Right.
So when you have proteinemia, you have high protein content in blood. And he'll explain everything like that. He'll give the actual term, and then he'll go, this is how this term is broken down to. This is what the prefix means. This is what the suffix means. This is how it's observed. This is how it's tested for. Continue on with the story. Come to another term that needs a bit more explaining.
Yeah.
Like he's done a bunch of videos on dehydration and hyperhydration.
Yeah, I've been dehydrated before, and that's a pretty wild experience if it's ever happened to you.
Yep.
I also have anemia, which is low red blood hemoglobin.
Yep.
I've run into that as well.
Yeah, I've had dehydration to the point where they had to put 2 liters into me. And I was, at that point, finally able to piss, and I was pissing brown.
I was so dehydrated that they couldn't keep me conscious.
Damn.
Yeah. I drove to the hospital, got out of my car, made it to the front door and passed out. And I was out. I didn't know, but I was told later that they got a wheelchair and took me directly to a room and started saline to try to get me back. So
yeah, for me, it was when I was in college, I had a horrendous bout of food poisoning, and then immediately after the food poisoning, I got sick. And then immediately after getting sick, I had my allergies just explode. So I'm pouring fluids out of myself for like 3 weeks straight.
It's hard to maintain fluid level when your stomach just can't handle it.
Yep. And then I finally reached the point where I was feeling better. I got something to drink and something to eat, ate perfectly fine, downed my drink, went back to my dorm room. As I'm walking back to my dorm room, my stomach just starts revolting. I run into the bathroom, throw up, go to sip some water because I thought I was still sick. And the last thing I want to do is throw some bile up. Bile is the worst fucking thing to throw up. It burns the entire way.
Yeah. You have to make sure that you have
awesome.
You have to make sure you have something like Tums or Geliosil or something like that as a base to neutralize it, or else you will get burnt.
Yep. Or the other way of dealing with it is you drink water so that when you throw up, rather than throwing up bile, you're throwing up water.
Yeah. Isn't that, are we on a joyful topic here?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, that's kind of like we've reached the survival end of what happens if you drink too much.
Can we talk about cotton candy or?
But the long story short was every time I took a sip, I ended up bringing it back up, and I was getting weaker and weaker as I was doing it. And then I realized, oh God, this is dehydration, not sickness. And by that point, I was barely able to stand. It was a full body effort to hold myself.
It's a weird experience. It's not like you're tired. You just have zero energy. Like you can barely lift your arms and stuff. It's crazy.
Yep. And I had someone take me to the hospital. When I got into the ER, went up and I said, I am horrendously dehydrated. I can't keep down water. I need IVs. And they brought me back fairly quickly after that.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to recover.
Yeah, but they ended up having to put 2 full bags of saline, liter bags of saline, into me.
Yep.
And like I said, it was at that point that I could finally piss again. And it was nearly muscle failure brown.
Jeez.
But the hospital was completely just getting hammered for some reason. So they ended up going, okay, we're going to see if you can drink water. If you can, you're going to drink water and you're going to go home. And if you start not being able to drink water again, come back. So I was able to stomach water and then spent...
That's where I get the worries. Like, oh shit, they're offering you an ultimatum? Ultimatum? Like, what the fuck? I'm trying to piss. I don't want to piss brown. What the fuck?
Yep. Well, the thing is that the only way to get rid of that is you hydrate. And it's either the liquid goes into you through your veins or the liquid goes down your throat.
I've heard this issue with people before where their hospital tries to kick them out. And my hospital has never treated me that way. In honesty, it's been pretty much the opposite. I'm like, can I get out of here? You know, we want to do this. Well, yeah, but I'm okay now. Can I go? Well, we will you don't want to leave yet because we want to run this test. And it's like, I want to let me go, So I've never actually experienced that. Let's get rid of them kind of thing from my hospital.
I agree with you, Hammer. I've had stays where they more than welcomed the hospitality of, why don't you just, stay another day? We can take some more tests and see what's going on. And it's It's like
and charge your insurance more money.
yeah, and it's like, dude, I feel fine. Everything's good. We should.
The way it typically works is if you're in the ER, they try to get you out. If you're in a room, then they're more keen on trying to figure out what's going on, and yeah, let's run some more tests.
Well, they can, want to run tests, but I still got to go to work tomorrow. So I mean,
Yep.
that's where the problem comes in. Like,
I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm just saying that there's a massive difference between when you're in a room, because once you're in a room at a hospital, they kind of commit to the long haul.
Yeah.
If you're just in the ER, though, if the
And
ER
hold
gets
on, let
busy,
me just say, I still question the lady who took the piss jar that one time. You were a little bit more hands-on than necessary. So I'm just putting that out there.
but at least it wasn't taking the piss jar to the pants shitting tree.
Well, she's lucky. Okay, that joke was bad.
I'm still just baffled by it. Wasn't the shitting tree. It was specifically his pants shitting tree.
The shitting tree. Oh well, no, that's just for our good friend.
Yeah, like I said, I'm still confused about that. He had a shitting tree, and then he had a pant shitting tree.
Look, we still have Ajay Hazwas. I purposely mislined his name so we don't get hit. But this dude, this Egyptian archaeologist, he's still working on it, sir. He's still trying to figure out what's the difference between a shit tree and a pants shitting tree.
Well, it's fairly clear what the difference is in the name. I'm just baffled why he had a tree that he went behind to shit his pants.
Well, I'm surprised we still let him shit. No, he didn't shit.
What were we going to do? Super glue his ass cheeks together? How do you keep someone from shitting? We didn't let him shit. He just was going to.
Yeah, no. These are tales of excursions at a campsite.
Yep. When you have a maple donkey that's so sauced that he starts talking about how he has a pant shitting tree.
I haven't talked to Donkey in a long time.
Same. I hope he's doing good.
He tends to make himself rather rare, and then he'll appear again and just keep on talking.
And fall asleep.
And then fall asleep. And be the absolute loudest snorer in existence.
Yeah.
Well, he's from that part of Canada. See, I'm trying to map out. Jen is East Coast, right?
I think she's pretty much central.
Yeah, I want to say she's central.
Yeah,
and then
Sora's West Coast.
Sora's West Coast. And then
Blind Press is in Toronto. Costin is Ontario.
But they're so.
Delahaye is East Coast, isn't he?
Oh shit!
Are you going to ask Della what the pant shitting tree's for?
I wouldn't mind hanging out with Deli.
We know a lot of Canadian people if you sit here and think about it.
Yeah, I like Canadians. Hey, but I'm trying to also, build a conundrum of European people. So, the timing is important, but for Canadians, it's even more important because holy shit, they're closer.
Yeah, I've built a fairly good round of Australian people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Australian. Oh shit.
yeah, I mean Terry, right?
Yeah, don't get me started on Terry.
And then Far, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those are people that are within our circles. And then there's Ranting Feminist and Bearing, and there's a whole bunch of people down there.
Also, Hades. Peter Silac Hades.
Right, Peter, right? Kyber Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to him on a regular basis on Twitter.
Nice. It's interesting times.
I don't really know. How many people do we know in Europe? And we know Tailed Feature, right? And we know Lisa.
That's what I
Right?
mean. Like, Australia, Canada, that makes sense. Places in Europe. I want to see somebody who comes from France.
You know one.
Samuel. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's on the whatchamacallit, the Polly's podcast is Noir Bar.
Yep.
Him and Far on it every time.
Ah. See, we need to unite these universes.
But yeah, Lisa's in England, right?
I think so.
Till features in Scotland. Where's I got a tickle going.
Oh shit.
Who was the guy that Scribe has on his Scribe does his TEDx talks. He has people who do the wowie wow wow. Have you ever watched the show?
I watched a fair number of them, yeah. Not all
Yeah.
of them, but a fair number.
If
Scribe
someone, yeah, Scribe does a show, DEI kind of stuff, and on his show he has famous people that he knows who have recorded the words wowie wow wow, because a lot of people send Scribe stickers like we do super chats. They send him stickers, and on the stickers is Dogcat Fox, his whole thing with Dogcat Fox.
Yep.
So when someone sends him a sticker with Dogcat Fox, he picks a random person of his friends and has them say wowie wow wow in the show. And I can't remember the name of the guy. Geez, I can see his face, but I cannot remember his name. God damn it.
Ah, dude, I'm not gonna lie. That feeling of knowing, like, you can see the face, but you can't remember the name. That's annoying as shit.
Yeah.
He had like a minor stroke like a year ago.
Oh shit! I don't want a stroke.
I don't remember. It was a minor stroke he had like a year ago, and he recently broke up with his girlfriend and is seeing someone else now. But I can't remember. Bear. He used to be something Bear. What was he?
Oh, are you talking? You're not talking Irate, are you?
Who?
Used to be Irate Bear.
Yeah, he used to be, but he's not anymore. Now he's Irate Alex. That's what it is. Yeah, that's the guy I was talking about. We know about him. He's in England.
Holy shit! Yeah, what the fuck has he been up to?
Yeah, you hear him every once in a while on Scribe Show. You'll hear his voice because he does a wow 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 thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And Drunkle, of course.
Yeah, Drunkle.
Oh, Drunkle.
That's right.
Yo, wasn't Drunkle on notice because he did? I don't know.
Did he do something bad? Was he a bad boy?
Possibly. I've been keeping out of this stuff.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, he's part of the AAA stream, right? Him, Sinatra, and Polly.
Yep.
I should be friends with Sinatra. I should be. Our paths just don't cross, but I should be friends because he's a computer guy just like me.
Mm-hmm. And you have a lot of friends in common.
Yeah, we seem to have a lot of friends in common. That's true. I was actually on a stream with him
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. First time I ever talked to him. It was like it was back when Hangouts was still a thing. Remember that?
Yep.
Hangouts. Oh
Yeah, it was
my goodness.
before StreamYard. It was Hangouts, Google Hangouts.
And then Google nuked Hangouts to try to make their, what was it? It was
They
what was
nuked
their
Hangouts
system?
and they
It
called
was like
they nuked Hangouts, and then for a while it was Google Call, CALL for a while, and then they changed it to something else, and now you have to pay for it.
yeah, but there was the period where they nuked Hangouts before they went to Google Call. They nuked it because they were trying to make a fusion YouTube and then like YouTube Facebook bullshit. It was like
Really?
Google Local or some shit.
It's crazy. I don't remember
And
that.
then
Google Local.
I want to say it was something like Google Local or something like that.
Google does a lot of things, and if they don't take off, even if they do take off to some extent, they cancel them.
Yeah.
It's crazy how many things that they. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, no, we're not. It's
Yep.
like, what the fuck?
Because yeah, there was one of the Google services that was popped up. It didn't last very long. Fucking died immediately, and then disappeared again. And I'm trying to remember what it was called because I ended up making my food porn account at the wrong time. So rather than defaulting to a Google Mail account, it defaulted to their weird fucked up thing that immediately died as being the email for it.
Yeah, there was something before Gmail. I don't remember what it was called.
Well, no, this was Gmail existed before this.
MySpace.
But there was legit like a Google MySpace thing that was just a terrible idea from the get-go, but they pushed it. So for a while, when you made a new Google account, that was one of the emails that it automatically gave you. And when you made a YouTube account, that was the email that it automatically gave you. And then it killed off that service. So a bunch of people were left without their email, and they had to remake a Google Mail account and link it back to their account. But there was something strange. It was like Google Local, Google Neighborhood. It was something along those lines.
I hope not, you know.
And like I said, it just died almost immediately.
Yeah, what did Google what came after Hangouts? Was that there was something after Google Hangouts, but I can't remember what it was called.
Like I said, it was that one service popped up, and then Google Call was originally part of that one service, and then they separated Google Call because Google Call was the only one that was at all successful. And that became the new Hangouts. And then
Google Meet, that's what it's called now.
Google Meet, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's called now. But Google Meet, you get an hour, then it disconnects everybody if you're using it for free. If you pay for it, you get to stay. But if you just start up a Google Meet room, you get 1 hour, and then it kicks everybody off for free. So thank God for StreamYards, or we'd be pretty screwed.
Yeah.
There isn't anything else.
Other than just using Discord VCs.
Yeah.
But those tend to be janky on certain people's systems.
What's the one that Jack uses? Not Jack Cochran, the other Jack. Clippers Jack.
Yeah, I'm trying
Uses
to remember
something Jitsi or something like that.
Yeah, that might be it. I can't remember.
Great name, by the way. Sounds wrong.
Yeah. Sounds like it would cost you some money in a back alley.
Yeah, Jitsi free. Jitsi is free video conferencing software for web and mobile. So yeah, it is JITSI Jitsi.
Yeah. Like I said, that's at least $30 in the back alley.
Sounds dirty.
Yeah.
There's other thing. There's something else too besides Discord and Jitsi. There's something else.
Zoom.
There's Zoom, right?
But this or StreamYard definitely has one of the better audio qualities of them.
Yeah, it's better than Discord. Discord is 128 to 160, and I think isn't StreamYard's 256?
I think so. Though you can get better VCs through Discord, you just need to nitro the
Right. Yeah, you have to pay for it.
Yeah. You have to get it up to, I think, nitro, each nitro level, because there's nitro 1 through 3, I think.
Yeah.
But each nitro level gives you better and better VCs.
I think StreamYard has better ducking too.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't completely wipe somebody else out in favor of somebody else who's talking. It just suppresses it.
Yep.
So,
though Discord does have some pretty legit noise cancellation.
I just don't like it because I can't play music over it.
Yep.
If I want to play music over StreamYard, all I have to do is just play it, and it'll go right over. I could play anything on my computer right now, and it would come through to your stream. You can't do that with Discord. It doesn't understand how to do that. You have to get some special software and all this kind of stuff to make it work, and it's just too much of a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I just realized it's now after midnight. And you said that you had to cut out early, didn't you, Hammer?
Yeah.
Are you still good, or?
I'm past where I was going to be, but that's okay. We're having a good conversation.
Okay.
Adam's here.
Yep. Just wanted to make sure that I didn't have you held hostage.
No, if I got to go, I'll let you know. I'm all right for now. It's just that I've been on more of a day schedule, so I've been getting up early. There's a guy, like one of my next door neighbors, is doing a lot of tree cutting work, and they start pretty early in the morning up here, and it's been beneficial for me to already be awake instead of staying up at night and then being woken up in the morning. That's annoying.
Yeah.
So I just kind of tailored my sleeping schedule so I'm up around 8 o'clock. That way, when they start at 8:30, 9 o'clock, it's not annoying. It's like, oh, they're on their way. So I have to go to bed a little earlier. But it's 1 o'clock. I can handle it.
Copy that.
No big deal. No big deal. But yeah, as a matter of fact, he needed to get on my property to get to the back of her house.
That's weird.
Because some of the houses up here are pretty cloistered, but there's a lot of trees. It's Pennsylvania. It's the mountains of Pennsylvania. There's fucking trees everywhere. But for him, he couldn't get around the sides of the house because there was a pump station on one side and someone else's property on the other side who doesn't like that neighbor. So he wouldn't give the guys permission. And I don't like the neighbor either. But he came to me, knocked on my door, and he said, this guy wouldn't let us on. He says, do you mind if we do that? And I said, well, you see that tree over there? That tree is dead. I said, you take that tree down for me and you can have access. And he said, deal.
Nice.
So I got a tree taken down, which is about $300 or $400 if you would just call him up and have him come do it. But he said, yeah, no problem. He took care of his regular customer first, and as he was getting ready to leave, he cut my tree down and cut it all into pieces and put it in the back of the truck, and off he went. And I was like, yeah, because there's a disease up here for trees. It's like a mold that gets on the trees and it kills them.
Oh, is it one of the blights or rusts?
It's something like that. It's like a really light green color, and it looks like you've seen guys who break rocks open, and they open the rock up, and inside there's like a fossil.
Yep.
The thing that gets on these trees, I guess you can call it a blight, kind of looks like that. It looks like a green spiral explosion pattern and it gets on everything. It's not just on the trees. I mean, it's on the railing on my front porch. I just need to wash it off because it won't. It's there. Taking moisture out of the air and sunlight. And
Is it just a really aggressive lichen?
I'm not really. I really haven't done any work into it. What exactly it is, but it's gotten on the side of my motorcycle, and it's on the front railing. It seems that anything dark, it really sucks up to anything dark. And this tree was kind of in the shade.
A recent thing, and also being able to wash it off. Do you think it's like a fungus?
I'm doing some Google search here. See if I can find it. Light green tree, lichen, PA, NEPA, NEPA.
Probably lichen.
See if I can get a picture of it. Lichens of Pennsylvania. We have our own category. That's how much of a problem it is. Yeah, it is a lichen.
Yeah,
it is.
Lichen are strange. Lichen are effectively a mutualistic organism that is an association of fungi and algae.
Green shield lichen is the name of it. Common green shield lichen is a medium to large green foliose lichen. It is common and widespread in eastern, northeast, and northeast American. Unlike its close relative, the rock green shield lichen, which grows on rock, the common green shield grows on tree bark and dark surfaces. There you go. So the tank on my motorcycle is black, and the front grille is an iron front grille across the front of my house. It's black, and also goes in this tree. But it's like a very, very pale greenish aqua turquoise kind of color.
Yeah.
And it's pretty awful. So yeah, it killed that tree. I mean, all the other trees in the area had leaves already, or early in summer. That had nothing. There was nothing on it at all. So I was like, yeah, you take that tree down, you can have full access to everything you need. Let's do it. So yeah, very cool. And there's some trees that I want to take down. Some what's the kind of tree? It's not a hardwood tree. It is pine tree. I have a couple of pine trees that I want to take down that are between me and my other neighbor. He said, he says, you can do it two ways. You can do it by tree or you can do it by day. He says, I can do up to 10 trees in a day. And he says, looking at what you're talking about here, I could do all the trees that you want, and it would be $2,000 for one day.
Oh.
So, yeah, very reasonable price up here. That's usually $3,500.
Yeah.
For him to quote $2,000, and he spent some time looking around, looking at the size of the tree, and he walked under each one and all that kind of stuff. So he didn't just, throw out a number. He actually spent some time looking around. And he came up with a good number. I was like, give me your business card, sir. So I'm going to save up a little bit of money, and I'm going to get a bunch of trees knocked down.
Especially if you can do the job without the tree falling on my house.
Yeah, he was really good about the tree that he did take down, because it's probably the tree that's furthest from my house. But
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, as far as distance, it was the furthest from my house. It was still on my property. It was the furthest from my house. It was actually closer to my neighbor's house than it was mine. But he was constrained on three sides by other trees. The only way he could do it was directly towards my house. But he kind of went towards my house, but on an angle, because my power lines were there. So it was like very difficult for him to find a way to fall it, but he did, and he didn't destroy anything. It came down exactly where he had to put it. And I was like, wow, it's pretty good, very accurate, and he didn't take long either.
One of the coolest ways of taking down a tree that I've seen is someone that carved a perfect hinge joint.
Yeah, I've seen those on YouTube.
Yep. So they have the large tongue going down into the rest of the...
So it can only really fall one way, because the tongue is going to keep it perfectly in that direction. What he did was he had this little tractor thing that had a big arm, and he put it up about 8 feet on the tree and just pushed on put pressure against it.
Yep.
And then where he was cutting, he put a wedge.
Yep.
So between the wedge and the arm pushing it, it went down exactly where he wanted to. But he had this huge steel chainsaw that was crazy big. It was like, what a typical chainsaw is, like 22 inches or something like this.
Yep.
This is like 35 inches. It was like this huge saw.
Yeah.
And when he pulled that thing over, it sounded like a fucking V8 engine. It was like, I was like, holy shit.
Yep.
It took him like, I don't know, 25 seconds to fall the tree.
Yeah.
He just went right through like it was butter. I was like, damn. But I mean, that's his job, right?
Chainsaws.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen one of the tandem chainsaws?
No.
There's certain chainsaws that are no shit like 4 or 5 feet long.
Oh yeah.
And they end up as tandems.
For lumberjacks, like serious stuff, yeah.
So you have 2 people wielding the one chainsaw.
Yeah. I saw this video of lumberjacks cutting down trees, and he was using this. It was not it was bigger than a forklift, but it had an arm, and it grabbed the tree with this arm, and then a huge blade came out and chopped, and it was holding the tree, and just chopped the tree out from the center, and was holding it there, even though it had no base anymore at all.
Yep.
And then it fed that into this metal hole that ran the tree down the hole and stripped off all the branches.
Yep.
And then it went back and forth and made sure all the branches were off. And then while holding it, it cut it into pieces.
Yep.
And I was like, it was stunning to see. I'm sure I could find it on YouTube again, but it was amazing that they have equipment. This is serious stuff. This is like, a $2 million machine kind of deal,
Yeah, it is.
It just ate this tree like it was nothing. Like it was a toothpick.
It is always amazing watching the development of technology when it comes to shit like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not very long ago that tech was nowhere near that.
A couple of guys with a chainsaw.
Yeah, there was a couple guys with the chainsaw, if they were lucky. And a good chunk of the time, it was a bunch of guys with axes.
Yeah, or steel saws.
Or steel saws.
With handles on it. Zoink, zoink,
Yep.
zoink, zoink, zoink.
And then you would have the big sawmill that would have an enormous saw blade, but
Right.
that was at the mill rather than at the work site.
Yeah. This is why men are so awesome, because no woman would develop any of that. Any chance to give it to the feminists, I'm going to take it.
Yep. But yeah, it's a fascinating thing watching tech develop. And it's one of the things that it drives me crazy every time that it's, well, we won't be able to develop this. Shut the fuck up. Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Look at technology. Look at how we've done things. Every time that we've gone, oh, we're going to end up with this problem, the result has been no, we didn't. We didn't even come close to that problem. Like
we're really good at adapting to things. That's like the best part about humans is we can adapt to just about anything.
Yeah, you're a big tech guy.
We can't prevent anything, but we can adapt to everything.
Yep, both of you are good tech guys. And think about how long ago was it that there was the big tech issue of the miniaturization crisis?
Oh, yeah.
Where, for those
you
who
can't
don't
make
know,
anything smaller because it'll jump the gap because it's too small.
Yep. So for those who don't know, for the longest time, there was a looming threat of what was known as the miniaturization crisis.
Yeah.
Which was, in order for tech to advance and develop the way that it was, we needed to make things smaller and more dense. But as we made them smaller and more dense, it was worked out that the tech that we were using at the time could only go so small.
Yep.
If you tried to make anything smaller than that, it wouldn't work. It would arc and it would end up frying itself.
Yep.
But
everything in computer works in gates. So everything jumps. If you get small enough, things start jumping the gate and you end up with errors. And then you try to autocorrect and that didn't work. And it's just a nightmare.
Yep. But now we're what, 1/3 the size of the
Yeah.
miniaturization minimum?
Yeah, we were at like 14 nanometers was our size that we couldn't get past,
Yep.
and now we're like at 3 nanometers. They're talking about. So I mean, they continue to make it smaller and smaller and smaller. They're talking
Yeah.
about picometers at one point.
Yeah. And
Crazy.
now we have people that are working on quantum computing.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I've been keeping up on quantum computers, and
Oh shit! Yeah,
they have
Wow.
their possibilities, but I don't think they'll ever really. They're very specific to what they can and can't do. So if you're trying to do specific things, yeah, quantum computers can be better, but it's very limited about what you just can't add numbers. A regular computer will beat them every time. But if you start talking about really advanced mathematics, then quantum computers start catching up. But the resources for a quantum computer, you have to cool everything to almost absolute zero, and it costs so much money. And they can't find a commercial use for it, even though it's possible that it could do. Like they said, this IBM comes out and says, "Oh yeah, our quantum computer can do this," and then Intel will come out and said, "Well, we used a regular computer and we were able to duplicate that."
Yep. But
You
the
know,
thing
so
is,
it's like,
but to me, where quantum computers are now, it's kind of like looking at the first few computers
yeah, it's very basic.
and going, well, if you look at the first main computer that was in use, that thing was the size of a room. You had to make punch cards and feed them in.
Yeah,
That's a pain in the ass. Where are computers really going to go? I can't imagine households having a use for them. And then you jump ahead and you're going, oh.
You're talking about a computer? You're talking about a computer with more than 16K of RAM? Who would ever need that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Whatever you say, buddy.
Hey, listen, I'm more than capable of writing numbers on a sheet of paper that I have right here. And I should be able to calculate the pneumology that we are speaking of.
But yeah, it's something that drives me crazy every time that people are talking about technological developments. And it's something that I've said many times when it comes to science. The moment that a scientist says, we won't be able to discover XYZ, or we've discovered what there is to discover, which people have said many times before, that's the sign that that person is no longer of any use.
Yeah.
Because they have just removed themselves from being able to push science forward. All they can do is potentially teach someone else about the subject. But beyond that, they're useless.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy every time that I hear that. Because when people are talking about energy generation, for instance, there's a lot of people that don't understand where we are currently with nuclear power generators.
Oh my God, you're talking about one of my favorite subjects. How am I going to keep my mouth shut?
Nuclear power generators are fucking amazing.
The ones that we can make now are just crazy. They're just crazy good. People don't realize it's not the 1960s anymore. Solid fuel is out the door. We're talking about molten salt reactors that are impossible to melt down, and they generate more power, and they're easier to build, and people don't know what's going on with nuclear power. They just don't know.
And the ones that I really like are the ones that they're looking into that we should be able to make if we put the money behind it, that are non-weaponizable.
Right. Thorium-based reactors. Thorium molten salt breeder reactors.
Yep.
They're bulletproof. You can't kill one.
You have a bunch of other types as well. You have those. You have the pebble bed reactors that are being developed. You have a shit ton of different reactors. All
I
of
thought
the
Pebble Bed was dead because they have problems with the pebbles cracking, and they haven't been able to solve that yet. So I thought that was kind of dead. I don't know
last
though.
I heard,
I haven't heard anything in a long time.
Last I heard, they were still working on it. There were issues, but it's new tech. So when is there not new issues with new tech?
There's a company who is going to make thorium reactors on a whatchamacallit, a line. What do they call that? Where they just pump out one after another, after another, after another. What do they call that? Like Henry Ford?
Assembly line?
Assembly line. They're going to assembly line nuclear reactors. Can you believe that?
That'd be awesome. But
it's crazy.
That's kind of like one of the potential uses if they get pebble bed reactors down, is you could have a functionally
a reactor for every neighborhood.
Portable fucking reactor that you wheel into an area on the back of a truck. You set it up, you load it up, it
turn it on and walk
generating
away.
power, and then you can come back. You can make more permanent structure for it, but it literally just gets driven into the area that you want it to work.
Yeah. And instead of trying to do any real maintenance on it, they just bring another one in and swap them out.
Yep. But when you're dealing with stuff like that, and this is one of the things that drives me crazy when it comes to Iran just wants to have the nuclear power. What we should be doing is we should finish out one of these techs that's non-weaponizable and then give it hey, Iran, what we'll do is we'll send you a bunch of specialists to help set up the facility, show you guys how to run the facility, and then they'll leave. All you have to do is you pay this amount for the specialist to come out, help you set it up, you get this facility.
Yep.
Because if they do actually want the power, the response would be, oh yeah, fantastic.
Yes. Thank you. Please send us one.
Yep. If they are doing what most people believe them to be doing, which is they want one of the
they want to make uranium
dual chamber 235 reactors, because our current generation of so you had the first generation of reactors, which were weaponizable breeders. Then you had the 1.5s, which were weaponizable breeders with a second burn chamber. Then you had the 2.0s, which were weaponizable breeders with a second burn chamber that was more efficient and more hooked in. And our current generation are still weaponizable. It's a bit more difficult to disassemble the component that is the second burn chamber that renders it non-weapons grade, but it can still be done. With these future ones, it's not weaponizable. There's no just disable this second reactor. It just doesn't fucking work.
Do you keep up on this stuff, Adam?
No. I mean, holy shit. What the fuck? Oh,
that's awesome.
Okay. No.
Not many people do.
Yeah, dude. Okay. You went off the deep end.
That's why I said, if you're going to pick up nuclear reactors, I'm going to lose my shit because I'm heavy into this stuff.
Yeah. Well, you
want to talk about going off the deep end? I can go off the deep end.
Yeah, I think we're both on the same page when it comes to this technology.
I mean, we don't need to go off the deep end.
It's actually a lot simpler than we're making it sound, because nuclear reactors back in the day in the 60s had solid fuel. It was a solid metal fuel. And if you didn't keep it cool by running water over it, it would melt. It would get so hot that it would melt. So you get like Fukushima and 3 Mile Island and all that kind of shit. What's the Russian one?
3 Mile Island shouldn't be in that. The only one
shouldn't be
in that list is Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, that's the one I was thinking of.
Because 3 Mile Island was fucking nothing. It was a fart of radiation.
Yeah. Well, here's the question.
For 3 Atlantic flights. Just 3 Atlantic flights.
People think that nuclear power is dangerous. How many people died in 3 Mile Island?
Zero.
Right. How many people died at Fukushima?
In the actual issue with the reactor, I don't think there were. In
Zero.
the
But there was
tsunami,
four volunteers who went in afterwards who did die, but they volunteered and knew that they were going to die.
yeah, and there was people that died in the tsunami because, again,
But that had nothing to do with the nuclear power plant.
Yeah, but when it comes to Fukushima also annoys me that people point to that as, oh, look at the danger of nuclear reactors.
Yeah,
A reactor was hit by an earthquake.
What do you want?
And then a tsunami.
Yeah.
And one
That's what you
chamber
need.
on one reactor
Yeah.
had a small crack.
Yep.
We've had more deadly incidents with half that happening at a coal plant.
Coal plants, right? Yeah. But that was the old technology, Adam. The new technology, they don't make a solid fuel. It's a salt. It's a liquid fuel. And what happens is they put it in a chamber to react with, and there's no cooling process. It's just the salt solution itself that generates the power. And if the salt solution gets too hot, there are temperature plugs at the bottom of the reactor chamber. And what happens is those temperature plugs melt and it drains the chamber and it cools itself off. It can't blow up.
Also, one of the coolest things about that is one of
Yeah,
the
it's pretty
problems
crazy.
with old reactors. If the coolant line had a crack, it would just start pissing coolant out.
Yeah.
Which meant the coolant wouldn't hit the
And
reactor.
And there was corrosion issues too. Yeah.
Yep. So you'd have corrosion, you'd have a pipe crack, your coolant wouldn't hit the reactor, your alarms would sound, you'd turn off the reactor if you were in a Western country. If you were in Soviet Ukraine, you just kept running it until you melted the chamber. But with the liquid salt reactors, if one of the lines carrying the salt to the reactor develops a crack, do you know what happens?
It drains the chamber.
Not entirely.
Because
so what happens if one of those lines develops a crack? Normally what happens is it starts to seep the very hot liquid salt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Salt, then once it's outside of the area, keeping it very hot, it tends to cool. It plugs itself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's
Okay,
really fucking awesome.
This really happens nowadays?
Yeah,
This is
the currently developing.
this is the configuration of thorium salt reactors. This is how they work. There's one thorium salt reactor in Japan, I believe, that is online. It's generating what, 7 terawatts or something like that. Not a lot of power compared to other reactors,
It's a
but
smaller
it is
facility because
it's
it was effectively
a working
test
prototype.
facility.
Yeah, it's a prototype. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it does exist. The technology does work. We just haven't scaled it.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And this is something that drives them crazy because when people are talking about tech for energy generation, you'll have a bunch of people saying, oh, nuclear is so dangerous. No, it's not. It's one of, if not the safest forms of energy. If I remember the stats correctly, on any given year, there's an assessment of the death per kilowatt hours of that year.
Yeah.
Which is a trippy stat to read. And number 1 or 2 is normally nuclear reactors. It's normally whichever one nuclear reactors isn't. That's normally where solar goes into.
Yeah.
And then it goes hydro. And then it goes nat gas and geo.
Yeah.
That tends to be the top 5. Do you know one of the worst, other than coal? Because coal is, I think, still the worst when it comes to death per kilowatt hour.
Oh my God. Coal is like, on a scale of 1 to 10, everybody else is like 2s and 3s. Coal's like 14. It's way worse than everybody. It's like 250,000 people a year die from coal.
Yep, it's worse than the others, but there's one that comes the closest to challenging coal.
I don't remember what that was. I remember seeing it on a chart, but that was a long time
It's one
ago.
that no one ever would guess. Wind.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
Wind is the one that comes the closest to coal.
And you know what's great about thorium reactors? It's renewable energy.
Yep.
Can you imagine that? It's green, renewable nuclear energy.
Yeah, and that's
and when you've cycled it enough, its radiation level is so low that it becomes neutral in 200 years.
Yep.
Instead of 200,000 years like our current nuclear plants do.
Yep, and that's also one of the other things. There's nuclear power plants have so much waste, except we're coming up with ways of getting rid of
it. That's bullshit. They store the waste on site.
They store the waste on site, but then there's also a shit ton of different projects. A lot of them are showing a hell of a lot of results in recycling that waste.
Yeah. Thorium recycles.
Yeah. So there's all that cool shit. Then another one that drives me crazy is battery tech. Battery tech is going to improve. It's going to take a hell of a lot of time to improve it because our current...
Elon's on it.
Yep, he's working on battery tech, but our current battery techs leave a lot to be desired.
Yeah, lithium ion's not great.
Because first off, a lot of them require rare earths.
Right.
Which
Cobalt.
make them expensive as hell. And while our batteries now are safer than our batteries were before,
yeah,
if you breach a cell, that is still a fire that you weren't putting out.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I mentioned this yesterday, that people have a hard time understanding when it comes to electric cars. When you're driving a normal gasoline-powered car, you're carrying half the energy that is required for you to move that vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds weird to people. What I'm saying by that is the other half of the energy is oxygen. The car sucks that in. It isn't carrying all the oxygen.
Right.
So it's carrying the fuel, which then reacts with oxygen and creates the energy.
Right.
So if you have your fuel tank get breached, even if it's breached and then sparked, there's only so much energy that can be released in a specific amount of time from that. Yeah. Electric cars carry 100% energy.
And you can't put them out either. You can't put water on them. It's not going to work.
So
all you can do is starve them from oxygen. That's all you can do. And even then, it still melts.
Yep. So you have, when it comes to that, the fires that you get out of a battery are ridiculous because it is 100% of the energy. It isn't collecting energy from anywhere else. It is all just that battery releasing that energy in an extremely destructive manner. So there's a lot to be done with batteries, but the people that think that our batteries are fantastic right now, no, they aren't. And the people that think that our batteries aren't going to get better, they definitely are. Both of those fuckers are wrong.
You got to find something. You got to find some kind of solid state kind of deal if you want to. Batteries are too heavy. You're gonna have to find some way of making solid state work, and that's probably graphene.
Well, the thing is that we'll need effectively 2 to 3 different types of batteries because we have small batteries, and small batteries can work on different principles than large batteries. Yeah. Because when you're talking a grid-sized battery, trying to miniaturize that probably won't work.
Yeah, not an easy task or necessary one either.
Yeah, like there's one of the ideas of a new type of battery is the molten salt battery. That might work as a
Hold
grid
on, wait.
battery.
Molten salt battery. Like a
Molten salt. So salt that has been melted and is held at a melted point.
Sounds like defensive for fortification.
Kind of does, yeah. But the molten salt battery is one of the ones that's being experimented with. Last I was able to find papers on it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one that, if they're able to get that tech to maturity, that tech's probably going to be a fucking amazing grid-sized solution. It will never work to power your remote.
No, well, it's not rechargeable.
Well, with the molten salt, if I remember correctly, you can put more energy in. It's just that they aren't scalable.
Well, the liquid
At
metal
least not
batteries.
downscalable.
Yeah, the liquid metal batteries are rechargeable. Molten salt isn't.
Oh, okay. Is that the way that it was?
Yeah.
I remember that there were two molten ones. I couldn't remember if it was the salt and the metal were able to be recharged, or if it was...
Liquid metal are used for industrial power backup, that kind of the big batteries. But yeah, they're rechargeable, but thermal batteries aren't. The great thing about thermal batteries is they can be stored in their solid state at room temperatures for long periods of time. That's what makes them so good.
Yeah, and the thing, like I said, they would be decent grid batteries if the tech gets matured, but you're never going to be powering your remote with them because the tech isn't really downscalable to that level. So you do have diminishing returns on everything. It's marginal utility. Marginal utility, one of the most important ideas that anyone can learn about, which is shit can work to a point, and then if you try to do it past that point, it doesn't work as well. And if you don't do it up to that point, it doesn't work as well. Or if you try to push past that point, it becomes a lot more work to get not much more benefit. So it has marginal utility. It's a very important idea to learn. You get marginal utility in fucking everything.
Yeah.
You get marginal utility in food. Food has marginal utility. If you don't eat enough, you starve. If you eat too much, congratulations, you're now 800 pounds.
Oh, by the way, getting back to nuclear power, just for a quick second, what is the most available nuclear fuel?
Not sure off the top of my head.
Thorium.
Ah,
it's everywhere.
True.
Yeah. I mean, it's like within the first 6 inches of soil.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can go out with a shovel in your yard and dig up thorium.
Yep. And one of the other things that drives me crazy when it comes to tech talk is people constantly say, oh, but we're destroying more of the planet in order to get the materials that we need in order to produce the tech. Which, yeah, it's insanely wrong when you say that. Because currently, do you know how many sites the world's silicon source is from?
I don't know, but hold on. Before you continue, do you know how much soil is being destroyed by... That didn't work out.
But the world's entire silicon supply is from like 5 different areas currently. Silicon can be found a hell of a lot more places than those 5 areas. But we've gone to just those 5 areas because those 5 areas have the purest silicon.
Yeah.
So we go there in order to get the material, meaning that we aren't using all the energy in order to purify the silicon from other sources, because we're using the purest. Also, there's a lot of work going into making that as safe and efficient as we possibly can. It is ridiculous and amazing when it comes to what we're doing with tech and how we access the resources and the power that we need. And it's one of the things that if people actually gave a shit about the environment, as long as we have stuff that needs gasoline, the people that really care about the environment should want all of the gasoline pumped from the US, Canada, and a handful of other places.
Mhm.
Not from the Middle East, not from South America. Because if you got it from America, Canada, the Nordic countries, you're going to get it done in the least damaging, most efficient way. You want everything done in the least damaging, most efficient way if you give a shit about the environment. Well, we can't do drilling in the US. Why the fuck would we do drilling anywhere else?
Yeah.
The US has the best chance of doing it in a way that won't fuck shit up.
Yeah, silicone's become pretty crazy, especially in the last couple of years, because we're starting to use it for things you would never think to use it for.
Yep.
And it ends up being actually really, really good. Like, I usually can't eat things that are made out of bread, but there's a Pillsbury corn muffin thing. It just comes in a tube, and you break the tube open, and it's already pre-cut, and you put it in a muffin pan and bake it, and it still has some flour in it, but it's basically corn. It's cornbread, so it has a lot of corn in it. And I didn't have I tried it once in a baking pan that I had, and I don't know if everybody's stove has this, but you have a preheat on the stove, and then once you get the temperature, you turn it up to bake, and then you bake something for a period of time. So I put the pan in with the cornbread. I put it in. I forgot to take it off of preheat, so I burned everything. And I burned it so bad that trying to clean the pan was just ridiculous. So I went out to Amazon. Like, all right, I got to buy some more pans. So I'm looking, and they're not expensive, $10, $15 or something like that. But here I find that they have silicone muffin pans.
Silpats, yeah.
They're not metal.
Yep.
The ones I had were like aluminum.
Yep.
And they have baking pans out there that are steel and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just scrolling through, and it's like silicone muffin baking pan and large cupcake. I'm like, silicone, is that just going to melt?
Nope.
But no, it's designed to handle like 450 degrees, which is hotter than what it takes to actually bake the muffins.
Yeah, and there's silpats that are made up to higher temperatures than the average baking sheet. Because the average baking sheet will be able to handle like 425, 450.
Yeah. There
are silpats that you can get that are 500.
Yeah, I'm looking now. There's a pack of 12 for $8.
Yep.
Of cupcake, silicone cupcake things that I could put this cornbread into, and it can handle 428 degrees Fahrenheit. The cooking for the actual stuff is 325. So these things can handle more heat than it would take to actually cook the cornbread.
Yep. Yeah, silpats are amazing.
It's just crazy. I was like, what? This can't be real. What are you talking about? You're going to put something in there made of rubber? But it's not rubber. It's silicone.
Yep.
The low price kind of turns me off on it. Is it really something that it's not going to leak chemicals in my food, is it?
Silpats are used constantly. They're good.
Yeah, BPA free, and they don't leak anything into your food. They're specifically designed for food.
Yeah.
So you don't get a taste out of them or anything. They're just completely inert. But they have a pan here, a 12 cup, just a pan. I'm not talking about the actual cupcake things because you can do them individually, but they have a pan here that does 12 of them. You can put 12 cupcakes in there.
Yep.
$8.97.
Yep.
Meanwhile, if you want to get a pen from something like USA Pen, which is where I get most of my pans from, $26.93.
Yep.
Holy shit!
I know it's an amazing. I like USA Pan because
Made
only
in the
people.
US.
Well, yeah, because besides the fact it's made in the U.S., it is not like any pan you would normally see. These are the kind of pans that you would get working in a large bakery.
Yep.
They're like quarter-inch aluminized steel pans, and they don't bend and they don't warp, and they weigh like 5 pounds each. They're like serious.
Yeah, I have a couple of their Pullman tins behind me.
Yeah, I actually have a USA pan I use just for straight up baking. But it is beefy to say the least. It is a beefy pan. So, but yeah, I was just going through looking to replace the pan. I'm like, holy crap, silicone inside my oven. That's crazy. But they're designed for it, and they're cheap.
Yeah.
How can
Like
you
I
beat
said,
that?
Silpats have been around for a while, and they are good.
Yeah, 100% food grade silicone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So
it's probably that time that we should do our parting words and goodbyes, especially since you have to wake up before the workers get in.
it's over.
We've been going for about 2 hours now.
Yeah,
real?
that's
Yep.
our limit. We're not allowed to go past 2 hours.
Oh,
Who's the idiot who came up with that idea?
We could go past 2 hours if you guys were game to continue chatting, but I
No,
think
we can go for 3 days. But as long as I'm here, we can do whatever the fuck we want. Screw the rules.
I'm
Do
the
what
old
we want.
king of long streams.
Yes, you are. Yeah, so I ordered them. They're arriving tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Silicone Kitchen reusable silicone baking cups for cupcakes. BPA free 12-pack, white, gray, dusty blue, navy blue, and jade green. So they'll be here tomorrow. I'll let you guys know how it turned out. But it looks like they're awesome. So
yeah, I have Silpats that I use.
Oh, you have them?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
Anything
why
I have to think about? Anything I have to worry about?
Not really. They're fantastic. I have Silpats that I use. Some of them are work service Silpats. Some of them are baking Silpats. So if I'm baking something that would be prone to stick to the bottom of my tray, I'll throw a Silpat in and bake on top of that because nothing sticks to Silpat really. So it makes it really easy to lift out. And you can get circular ones for cake pans. You can get rectangular ones for baking trays. You can get molded ones for cupcakes and whatnot.
Yeah, that's what I ordered. I ordered ones for cupcakes.
Yep.
And these go up to 446 degrees Fahrenheit. So
Yep.
I am safe. Oh, by the way, this 12-pack, because they're individual ones, the 12-pack of individual ones, $4.99. Yeah,
Silpats are cheap.
Yeah. All right. So how do you end your show?
I normally give people chance to do parting words.
Okay.
So do you want to go first, Hammer?
No, Adam goes first.
Okay. Adam?
Well, I'm waiting for some White Castle that I ordered.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, good old sliders. But you can catch me on Monday at the arcade. And yeah, I'm gonna be also hanging out with geez.
You're going to be hanging out with all G's? How did you book him?
Yeah, well, it was a really hard decision. No, I'm gonna be hanging out.
It was a wing and a prayer. Sorry, I keep on interrupting.
That's cool. Yeah, catch me on Mondays at the arcade.
Do you remember who you're going to have on? Yes, no, maybe.
Who's going to be on your show, Adam? Is it just you? Somebody else? Terry? He's usually on your show, right?
Oh yeah, no, Terry. Yeah, hang out with Terry and Angela on.
Angela Rega?
Yeah, on the
Oh,
show.
awesome. She's awesome.
And
Me
then
next?
Hammer.
Me next, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, everyone knows Wednesday show. Should I play the music? I'm going to play the music. Ha! Everybody knows the Wednesday show.
Dude, I love it.
9 o'clock on YouTube, 8:30 on Rumble. That's where we talk before the show starts. On Rumble, you can say anything you want. So that's where all the juicy stuff is. Come out and listen to us say stuff we're not supposed to say on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
The Wednesday show.
And then I'll leave off with my standard of if you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. And with that, have a good night, all. The zoo is closed.
Night, everybody.
Night.
Goodbye. And now I click this, and it takes a couple seconds. So